It's been the talk of town, and Auditor General Daniel Domelevo has resumed work after nearly 170 days of forced leave following a directive from President Akufo-Addo last year. This is despite a statement from the Audit Service Board saying he should stay away because personal records in its possession indicate he's reached retirement age. In a series of correspondence between the Audit Service Board and the Auditor General, the board indicated that it had noticed discrepancies in his date of birth and nationality. Manuel Quaranting has been monitoring the situation at Mr. Domelevo's office and sent this report earlier.
We've been here around 7 a.m. monitoring whether or not he was going to show up. Indeed, earlier, everybody at the office, even up until now, has been tight-lipped. Nobody was saying anything until we got a glimpse of his arrival. He used a different entrance into the yard of the audit service where he was ushered into his office. And it's instructive to note that at this point, there was a sharp contrast in how he was received today against what happened the other time when he arrived at the office and the keys. The other time when he arrived at the office and the keys had been changed. In fact, today he was giving a smooth access into his office. I also, in fact, went upstairs and monitored that some technicians had come to his office and were fixing the telephone lines. I gathered that there were some issues with the telephone lines in his office. That issue has been fixed this morning, giving you an indication of the sort of reception that he's received since he arrived at the office. We've been trying to get some comments from him, essentially on whether or not he's gathered, the correspondence from the board on wanting him to stay away from the office because of the issues around his nationality and then, of course, his age. He's declined to comment, but he spoke to us briefly and, thanked Ghanaians for their concern for him and checking on him even as he reported to work this morning.
A public statement. I will not also comment on any issues, but it will be a disrespect to you people to just look at you and ignore you. So once again, thank you very much for showing concern and for coming. Thank you.
Today at the Auditor General's office, there's no drama at all. Well, it waits to be seen whether or not that is something that will erupt as the day goes by. And you also know that the Deputy Auditor General took over as the Acting Auditor General. We're looking forward to seeing his arrival on the premises and what exactly the exchange is going to be, if you like, engagement is going to be between Auditor General Substantive Daniel Domelevo and the Acting Auditor General. That is something that we are monitoring closely and attempting to find details of. But again, another issue that waits to be seen is what will become of the legal repercussions and implications of his arrival on the premises of the office. Indeed, the board had said, in fact, challenged his nationality and in some instances referred to him based on records from his official documents as being Togolese and also referring to his date of birth as 1st June 1960, something which Daniel Domelevo in his correspondence to the board said was corrected in 1993 to 1st June 1961. And so if indeed he was born on 1st June 1960 and the audit board's position holds, then he would, as it were, based on the audit board's correspondence to him, will be occupying the office this morning illegally. But we do not have details on what the implications of his arrival are yet, and that is
my colleague Manuel Quaranting with that report. Meanwhile, anti-graft campaigner Vitus Azim wants President Akufo-Addo to intervene in the current impasse at the Audit Service to find an amicable solution to the issue. He spoke to Mamavio Uswabaje on the AM show earlier today.
I think we should hear something from the President. It will be like we are just giving up. Although I think that maybe personally, if you ask for my personal, now just to look at your records. If you cannot justify them, maybe you just forget about it. But if he has the records that show that, he has done the right thing, I think as a principle, he should wait until the time comes or until an appropriate authority asks him to go.
What can he realistically do in 3 months? What new discoveries can Daniel Domelevo bring out as Auditor General in 3 months?
So there were certain issues that he was already pursuing. The senior minister case, for example, I don't know whether he can go back for it. There are other issues that he was pursuing. So he can at least bring those to conclusion.
And that was Antigraft campaigner Vitus Azim. Criticize, but do not insult us. That's a call from justices of the Supreme Court to the media and the general public ahead of the judgment of the court in the election petition filed by former President John Mahama, who was the NDC's candidate in the last elections. The court, after 2 months of legal argument, will give its judgment in less than 24 hours. At a news conference organized by the Ghana Journalists Association and the Judicial Service, the justices of the Supreme Court, Yoni Kolendi, expressed the judge's uneasiness about attacks in a section of the media on some of their rulings. His call comes on the back of a statement last week signed by lawyers of the Judicial Service of Ghana, cautioning all media houses in the country to desist from publishing hateful, indecent, and offensive statements against judges. Justice Kolendi wants the public to be circumspect in its comments about the judiciary.
God willing, tomorrow the court will speak. When judges speak, that's the end of our role. It's not our place to get into studios, into debates, into commentaries, and to explain. That responsibility falls to you as the anchors who take information out. So if you inform, you can also misinform. It's the responsibility of those of you as the media who educate. If you educate, you can miseducate. And that is why, you know, if country will do well, if we will go forward, if our cohesion will be maintained, a lot depends on you and the professional circumspection, introspection and reflection and care that you bring to bear on your role as the anchor that takes the information out. I couldn't say it better than George did. You will have to take this phase of the responsibility very seriously. It's as important as the role you have performed in transmitting the proceedings worldwide, because at the end of the day, the Ghanaian people own the process. And it's important that they understand what went on, and that when the judges speak, irrespective of our preferences, our likes and dislikes, by the rules of engagement, the referee blows the whistle and the lots fall where they fall. And so let's be constructive, let's be proactive. And His Lordship has said, I should tell you that as trustees of the People's Power of Justice, we are willing and happy to be criticized. Criticize us as violently as you can, but for Christ's sake, don't insult us.
Well, still on the legal front, President of the Ghana Bar Association, Tony Fawcett, says lawyers are standing by to offer legal education on matters likely to come out of the judgment tomorrow.
On behalf of all the lawyers, to render an unqualified apology, if there be one needed, to all the authorities involved in the discipline of lawyers. Indeed, after the elections and throughout the petition, tempers were very high. And as much as I believe that every lawyer is endued with the ethics of the profession, sometimes some considerations would make you slip here and there. As human beings, even in court sometimes, we even forget some of the issues and we ask for amendments. So I pray that whoever may have said something untoward towards any person as a lawyer, I render an unqualified apology. Going forward, I will ask that all lawyers, after hearing the judgment tomorrow, will lend their intellectual power to the media and to the general public and show leadership in explaining what people do not understand. That is what we have been trained to do. Definitely, I will not ask anybody to go one way or the other. Every lawyer is an independent thinking person and has his own considerations. But in as much as possible, let us all be guided by the ethics of the profession, such that at the end of the day, Ghana is the better for it, so that we may not have the opportunity or the infamy of having to explain ourselves to anybody for things that we have said or failed to say.
Afil Moni, president of the Ghana Journalists Association, also had this to say.
We know that the ownership structure of the Ghanaian media prevents some of you from being as professional as you ought to be or what you want to be. So there's nothing we can do given the pluralistic nature of the media. All sides of issues are peddled. But for the sake of heaven, for the sake of national unity and cohesion and stability, our appeal to the media community in general, please inject the highest degree of circumspection in tomorrow's judgment, so that at the end of it all, Ghana will continue to be at peace with itself and at peace with the rest of the world. On this note, once again, I thank you for what you have done, and may the God of heaven bless you all.
Now, on to some other front, and the police officers face some of the most dangerous and demanding situations imaginable in their line of work. Although their duties are essential to society, they can be very strenuous to those in the profession. Compounding their predicament is the poor working conditions they face within the service, causing emotional and physical strain. In the past 2 months, 3 officers have committed suicide. A police officer shares his experience in the service and tells us what he believes are the causes of mental stress in personnel. His voice has been muffled to protect his identity.
With regards to the recent happenings in the police service, especially the suicide, it is real, but just that nobody cares about it. The first one I will talk about is stress. The officers, especially the junior ranks, are so stressed. They go to work 24 hours. The least is 12 hours without any single day off in a year. Moreover, what they are entitled to, which is the 42 days annual leave, is not granted to them when they request for it. You can write the entire 42 days to go and do other things and rest. But unfortunately, your commander can decide to give you only a portion out of it. It can be 10, 14, 15. But your 42 days leave, you cannot get it. Going to work without a single off day. If you complain, you have yourself to be blamed. So whether you are happy or not, all that you need to do is carry your gun and go to work. Another thing is, most of the officers, the senior officers, don't listen to you. You can have a genuine complaint, but all that they will tell you is they also came to meet it like that, so you to keep quiet and do it as you are told. Whether the thing is killing you or not, for them what they want to see is you are working. Another thing is uniforms or police accoutrement that you need not to buy, says by our own police laws, is no more. If you take your pay, you go and use it on your uniforms, your boots, your berets, and those things. And who will betice you if you are not able to get these things? They, the big men again, will worry you. A boot, normal desert boot or black boot, some cost 300, 400, 500. You will get those things, uniforms. Meanwhile, your salary is just a peanut. All these things are part of the depressions. Frustration left and right, but nobody cares. If you talk, they say keep quiet and suffer, because they came to meet it like that, so you to continue like that. Accommodation too is one of them. And also the petty allowances that are due police officers are not getting.
Well, this troubling situation has led the Inspector General of Police, James Opongwenu, to prioritize the welfare of officers. His first step in improving their mental health through a 4-day mental health training program in collaboration with the Ghana Psychological Association.
Recent happenings of some senior and junior officers committing suicide are very regrettable. And this is a concern to the police administration. We need to find a solution to this. And this is one of the ways in which we can find that solution. But you, the commanders, are the front line. So first of all, you must take this cause seriously and ensure that you yourself, as the supervisors, do not fall victim to the stress and the very mischief that we want to overcome. It is emphasized that the counseling unit will serve as an appropriate avenue or channel for personnel to express their psychological concerns for appropriate redress. It is expected that the unit, which is staffed by competent personnel, will roll out a broad range of programs to improve psychological concerns of our personnel and help them to overcome their struggling state. The police administration anticipates that the counselors will focus on individual treatment as well as group therapy to help others in similar situations. This may help guide persons through the difficult transition of going from addict to functional personnel in the service.
James Opombueno, Inspector General of Police there. Now, the Executive Council member of the Ghana Psychological Association, Dr. Erica Dixon, explains the modalities of the training.
We would teach them about mental health because people erroneously think of mental health as those who are half naked walking the streets. They must have a clear understanding of this to be able to identify when such matters come up. And then lastly, we will delve into suicidology or suicide so that they can understand this phenomenon and know what to do where such things are arising. We would also look at the human resource policing and mental health. Our objective in running this course, first of all, is to make them a little more knowledgeable about mental health, help them identify in themselves and in people under their command, and lastly, to help them destigmatize, because there's a lot of stigma with mental health issues because they don't understand. So we hope that this would do this for them and would enable them to be able to seek the mental health services because now they are able to recognize in themselves.
Still on that same beat, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry says counselling will be reinforced while the resources needed to ensure better policing are provided.
And you recall that when I appeared before the Appointments Committee, I did hint that we're going to build up the counseling department. And these are some of the events. But not only will it prevent them from dying, but it will also make them better police officers, to be able to think positively of the people they are dealing with. Because their mental state will determine whether they respect your human rights or not. And then, above all, will make them more professional so that they discharge their duties effectively, investigate things with a level mind and with expedition. So I think that holistically it's going to make our police better police.
Now, the Bono East Regional Immigration Command has arrested 80 persons suspected to be Togolese nationals for allegedly entering the country through illegal routes. The operation, according to the GIS, forms part of ongoing efforts to enforce the border closure directive by government to contain the coronavirus pandemic in the country. This brings to a total of 147 the foreign nationals intercepted by the regional command between February and March this year. Correspondent Anas Abed has more in this report.
A total of 67 foreign nationals were intercepted in the month of February by the Bono East Regional Immigration Command, even though Ghana's borders remains closed as part of measures to stop the spread of the COVID-19 disease. Bono East Regional Immigration Commander Chief Superintendent E.A. Ano disclosed this exclusively to Joy News.
We of the Bono East Regional Command of the Ghana Immigration Service have noticed that some group of people, or let me say agents, have been bringing people through the unapproved route to transit at Techiman to various towns. So we decided to mount surveillance and to ensure that such people do not come into Techiman or even remain in Techiman. On the 9th, we arrested 42 Nigerians who had come all the way from Niger through Buriyanga, and they were on their way to Côte d'Ivoire. We also arrested 25 Togolese nationals who have also entered Ghana. They were also traveling to Côte d'Ivoire, and we had to repatriate them.
The Immigration Command, in collaboration with the police, had also arrested 80 persons from neighboring Togo who are suspected to have been in the country through unapproved routes.
To my surprise, this morning, with a collaboration that we had with the police, we were able to arrest 80 Togolese nationals who had entered Ghana through unapproved routes along the Bumprugu area, and they were also on their way to Côte d'Ivoire.
The agent suspected to be administering the influx of these 80 Togolese nationals is currently in the grips of the security and will assist with investigations.
Fortunately, we had the agent who tried to bribe my officers with 1,000 Ghana cedis for them to let them go. But my officers, I must say, were smart and did not allow that. So currently we have profiled them, though the agent has coached them as to what to say. We've realized that they are from Togo. We have notified our point at Bumprugu, and we intend to send them back to the other side of Ghana.
Chief Superintendent Ano, however, cautioned the public, especially the Muslim community, to be watchful of strangers who get into their various communities.
I want to advise my fellow Muslims. The intercession of the Nigerians, in the afternoon, some of them went to the mosques to pray. And I believe we don't know what they have come in with. And that the imams of the various mosques should be very careful on the kind of people they admit into the mosque. Because if you could recall, the first COVID cases that Tamale recorded was from Niger. So we have to be careful. But for us, we are vigilant, and we will ensure that the president's directive is carried on without any fear or favor.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
Let's turn our attention now to the COVID-19 pandemic, and about 500 hard-to-reach health facilities in the Ashanti region will receive their vaccines through medical drone deliveries. The partnership between Zipline and the government is to increase access to the vaccine in difficult-to-reach communities lacking cold chain storage facilities. The Aswafwa Health Center in the Echimangwa-Beja North District is the first in this category to take delivery of 1,000 doses of the vaccine through a medical drone. Prince Apia observed the exercise and now reports.
This drone is flying from Impanya in Asante Mampong to Aswafwa in Echimangwa-Beja North District, all in Ashanti region. At the Aswafwa Health Center, hospital and local assembly officials awaited the drone delivery. After some minutes, the drone drops the vaccine package. The vaccination official in the company of security and other health officials takes the package to the cold chain room for storage. The Member of Parliament for the area, District Chief Executive and a District Health Director took turns to take their jobs. Benito Owusubio is the Echimangwa-Beja North MP.
It's just like the normal injections that we take, the normal vaccinations that we've been having. It's important because this is the only known protection against this coronavirus. Those who are going around making false information around that this vaccination is not good or whatever, my advice to them is that they should desist from it.
At the facility, 4 drones delivered 1,000 doses. General Manager of Zipline Ghana, Na Adoko Yosing says 11,000 doses will be delivered by the company.
If you look at the hard-to-reach areas, transporting it by road oftentimes becomes a big challenge because of the cold chain involved. But with zipline services and the support to the Ministry of Health, we ensure that there's equitable access of this product to even hard-to-reach areas that are unreachable by ground, while still maintaining the integrity and the quality of the product. It's a very exciting moment for us, and we are hoping that by the close of the day we would have delivered over 11,000 doses of the vaccines in various health facilities in the Ashanti region.
Meanwhile, there are mixed reactions among residents even after the public inoculation by the local leaders.
I was afraid at first, but now I see the NP and other leaders have taken it. I'm no longer afraid. She says when we were kids, we were vaccinated. This is no new thing. It shouldn't scare us.
Oh, I'm not going to take it. Why? I'm waiting for some months before I will take it. Oh, I'm afraid of it. That's why I'm not going to take it.
District Health Director Dr. Eric Sapon, however, says churches and other local agencies have been engaged to help in the public education.
I will urge everyone to get involved. It's not serious or dangerous as people are saying. It is in to protect X. We've written letters to churches, information centers, to education letters to distribute to his staff. So the awareness has been created so that everybody will be aware and they will come in their numbers to be vaccinated.
Meanwhile, the drone service also prevents waste by sending the exact amount required by any facility. Prince Apia reporting.
Well, the Wenchi Municipal Director of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Victor Yao Dablo, is calling on smallholder farmers across the country to utilize the National Food Buffer Stock Company's storage facilities to store their farm produce. According to him, this will help address issues of low income and food insecurity in the country and further make government's flagship planting for food and jobs meaningful to the farmers. Victor Yao Dablo made the call in an interview with Joy News' Nesta Kafwe Ajoma in Wenchi.
With the PFJ, that is the planting for food and jobs, most of them are the peasant farmers, and so far so good. They are getting the inputs that they need for their produce, and we'll encourage that the buffer stock storage at other places and the GCES where they've established them, they should encourage the GCES and the buffer stock storage to help the peasant farmers store their food and give them little assistance and use part of their produce as surety. Because at the end of the day, the farmer has that surety that if I go to my buffer stock officer or the GCS, I'll be able to get something small to feed my family. Then when produce are sold, then the farmer can get his bulk of money. Meanwhile, he has gone for some part of his produce and he can use it in starting the new season. This will go a very long way in uplifting our farmers from where they are, and they can improve upon their livelihood.
Bono East and Ahafo Regional Program Officer of Action Aid Ghana, Yao Osei Boating, appealed to governments to initiate special programs targeted at enhancing the livelihood of smallholder women farmers, since they contribute immensely to Ghana's food production.
It's an undeniable fact that these women contribute enormously to our food production in Ghana. We cannot deny them that recognition because we see them as smallholder women farmers, but they put food on the table. So I think there should be a concerted effort from government and how government can uplift programs that will benefit smallholder women farmers and also influence their policies in respect to how they can integrate agroecology into their programs so that it can benefit the country, it can benefit our health, it can also help us to address the impact of climate change, which is affecting all of us.
Nesta Kafwe Ajoma reporting.
Take a bit of a break here. When we return, we bring you some business news.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Listed banks on the Ghana Stock Exchange have been granted 1 month extension to file their 2020 audited financial statements. They have up to the 30th of April this year to do so. Yes, more.
A statement from the Ghana Stock Exchange, however, said the banks that are able to conclude their audit in time, in spite of the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, are encouraged to publish within the existing statutory timelines. The banks listed on the Accra Bourse through the Ghana Association of Bankers requested that the deadline for filing of 2020 audited financial statements be extended by 1 month, that's to April 30. This will enable them to work effectively with their external auditors to achieve the audit objectives. The association indicated that the advent of COVID-19 has resulted in significant impact on human resource allocation in most banks. This was exacerbated by the recent spike in infection rate in the country. The statement further said results from initial assessment in the banking industry pointed to signals that some banks are unable to keep sufficient staff members at post to assist with the audit of the 2020 financial statement. The situation resulted in significant delays in some instances. This convinced the GSE to give some reprieve to the listed banks in publishing their 2020 financial statements.
Now, retailers of maize at Kumasi Central Market are concerned about the continued rise in the price of the commodity. The traders attribute the price increase to the lean season experienced last year. Food processors are also worried about the price hikes. Anita Sewa Ajoga's report.
Maize production is the most important cereal crop cultivated across the country. The increase in the price of maize continues to be a worry for traders selling the commodity. At the Kumasi Central Market, a bag of maize shot up from 180 Ghana cedis to 250 Ghana cedis in 2020. In the past 2 months, the price has increased to 320 Ghana cedis. According to traders, the lean season contributed to the high prices.
I used to sell a bag of maize at 180 cedis, but due to the lean season, the price of maize keeps increasing. After the Easter celebrations, maize prices are going to increase. The price of maize keeps increasing. I used to sell the small blue paint rubber at 10 Ghana cedis, but I now sell it at 15 Ghana cedis just to make profits.
To 1.5, a unit, yet on 1.5.
I was buying a bag of maize at 150 cedis. I was expecting a drop in prices, but it shot up to 300 cedis. The yellow corn is now sold at 350 cedis.
It is a 3 million a ton. Yellow corn, so you ton 3.5. Into the Aniamana and Nanitian, so the 1 cedi no ya that 50 pesos in one and
one white no new channel to 8 cedis, say channel 12 cedis.
I was selling the condo at 8 cedis, but it's now 12 cedis.
Obaya, a kenke seller at Aja, says she had to increase the price of a ball of kenke to stay in business.
2.2.
I buy the maize at a price of 220 cedis, but it's now sold at 320 cedis. After checking the price of maize, we now sell a ball of kenke at 1 cedis, 50 pesos, and 2 cedis.
The Minister Designates for Food and Agriculture, Owusu Efiye Akoto, attributed the increase in prices to inflation. Anita Sewa Ajoga reporting.
All right, we've got more business news coming up at the top of the hour on the market, please. Up next, sports. Stay tuned.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the sports segment. Here with me, Oreko Wampofo. We start off with our first story where board chairman of Heart of October Afede says he is committed to building a culture of excellence at the club. Speaking to the media, he indicated his desire to build a successful football institution.
New coach, new player, same house of oak. However, the mentality about the club is about to change. Board Chairman Togbe Afede is committed to investing in the club that would ensure success on the field. One area deemed essential to attaining excellence on the field is the technical department. The club say they will expand their scouting network to attract the best talents.
We have plans to rebuild our scouting system. We will count on him to help us to build the appropriate system. Remember, our academy will have under 15s, under 17s, and under 20s. We need to scout for all of those people from across the country. We already had plans also to build satellite academies in other countries. Okay, so our network for pooling talent, for discovering special football talent is going to be very wide. And we expect Coach Boedu to be part of the development of that scouting network.
Over the years, questions have been raised about the commitment of the board chairman to win trophies. Less than a fortnight ago, when Costa Papic resigned from his role unceremoniously, claiming interference from the leadership of the club as one of the reasons for his decision to walk away from the job, supporters thronged the club secretariat. Togbe Afede wants to institute a culture of commitment that would return the club to its glory days.
It will mean building the right environment, okay? A culture that emphasizes commitment to excellence at all levels. And we know that he has in him that desire for excellence that we want to see. We will provide him with all the resources to be able to build the systems that he needs to succeed.
Just maybe, if these stores are implemented, the failure of the Phobians to win a major trophy in the last 11 years could just come to an end. Muftar Nabila Abdullahi for Joy Sports.
Now, before we go, there's a developing story that has to do with Aduana Stars defender Farouk Adams, who has been arraigned before court for allegedly hitting a police officer and then absconding the scene afterwards. Reports claim the player was en route from Sunyani to Doma when the accident did happen. My colleague Mubarak Haruna has the rest of the story.
The player who won the NASCO Man of the Match award in week 16 of the Ghana Premier League match between Aduana Stars and Inter-Allies at Doma was driving from Sunyani back to Doma when the accident happened. According to sources, the player alleges he knocked down a suspected animal that crossed the car, upon which he stopped but found nothing. The source said he alleges he later parked the car at a nearby fuel station where he called the car owner about the accident and proceeded to the Wamfie Polyclinic to attend to an injury he sustained. He later went back to the accident scene with the car owner but again found nothing. He then left for Doma in a different vehicle while a mechanic moved the other car to Sunyani on the orders of the actual owner, the source said. Farouk Adams alleged it was his friend who later told him the accident had caused the death of one person. He then reported it to the Doma police station around 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday and was subsequently arrested by the Wamfie police. A police source said they had information of an accident victim only to find a lifeless body of Constable Mate by the road at the scene. The body has been deposited at the Presby Hospital at Doma while investigations continue.
Well, the court hearing for Farouk Adams was supposed to take place today, and we'll be getting updates on that on Sports Today at 2 p.m. live here on the Joy News channel. So do make sure to tune in. My name is Orik Wampofo. That's the sports for now. World News is up next.